one of the headlines described him in not so nice words. They said biased speaker. Basically, over the rulings he made, one that has been you may say, overtaken by events, but the court pronounced itself on the matter. And definitely that would indicate that there is some sense of bias from the Speaker. There's also his position as both leader of the Ford Kenya Party and Speaker of the National Assembly. What is your view of that?
I think I've even expressed myself on the matter in regard to the ruling pertaining who was a majority at the time we were forming or convening the 13th Parliament for the first time. And what happened is that quite a number of parties had bolted out of coalition agreements that they were in, but had not formalized the process with the Register of Political Parties. And because apparently they were claiming intimidation from the then government at the time, you know, there was a transition period. Some of them had even bolted out 3 months prior to the general election of 2022. So I do believe that in good faith, the Speaker made that ruling on the fact and the strength of freedom of association. But I also feel that the procedure was not followed, the due process was not followed. So for me, I think it's a catch-22 situation for the Speaker of the National Assembly. You know, he also did have his affiliation. You know, we know that he's still the lead, strong affiliation. We know that he's still the leader of Ford Kenya. And so I do not really fault him in that, because at the end of the day, you know, Parliament has political inclinations of some sort, and that's why you see even in the event of voting, members have a certain inclination in regard to their parties. So perhaps the bias comes in regard to his strong affiliation. And maybe looking at it from the outside, you know, he is supposed to be this figure who is very neutral and who is making decisions that are not influenced by his own personal convictions in regard to his alliances. But, well, you know, it plays out at some point.
But when a court pronounces itself on something like this, definitely puts the Speaker in an awkward position, that he's no longer seen as a neutral arbiter. The fact that he's still a senior principal within the ruling coalition as a party leader of Ford Kenya. He has refused to relinquish that position. We've seen in the other house, the Senate, the Speaker there was also a party leader, but he seems to have stepped back from that position. Definitely there will be push, even from UDA. I know there is a push for most parties to fold and merge into a bigger UDA party. Don't you think that this also works for UDA, that the Speaker is now being pushed to a certain corner that could benefit the party?
I think that behind the scenes, you know, where things are being done and where, you know, conversations are happening, I think perhaps there's a conversation that UDA is looking at, you know, that they can angle to now have the Speaker formally relinquish his role as a party leader and perhaps now merge into the larger UDA party. But I know he's very resolute. Of course, he's very resolute about maintaining the party, of course, for political reasons. And, you know, the political climate in this country is that anyone can switch up on you anytime. So, of course, at the end of the day, you also have to look out for yourself. So I think that's what the Speaker is merely doing.
I know it's a catch-22 situation for you when you're talking about the Speaker of the National Assembly as a member. But looking at the kind of individuals who sat on that position, rarely have we seen accusations of bias. In one occasion or two, but looking at people like Kenneth Marende, Francis Ole Kaparo, some who, yes, came to that position courtesy of some political affiliation, but once they occupied the seat of Speaker, they acted very well as neutral arbiters. But when it comes to the current Speaker, probably, and in the 12th Parliament, the other Speaker, we've seen this tendency